A little lion cub was wandering through the tall grass, soaking up the warm sun on his fur when, out of nowhere, he saw his mom tumble into a huge pit. His heart raced as she hit the ground with a thud. Before he could even shout, some sneaky snakes slithered in and wrapped around her, making it impossible for her to move. It was a scary scene, but this brave little cub knew he couldn't just stand there. He had to find help, and fast. With determination shining in his eyes, he took off, ready to save his mom. What a courageous moment for such a tiny guy, right? The task was super tough because that hole was not just deep. It was narrow, too, and there was nobody else around to help. But you know what? The little cub didn't care about the risks. All he could think about was saving his mom, no matter what it took. With his heart racing and determination fueling him, he dug and clawed, pushing himself to the limit. Finally, after what felt like forever, he broke through to the surface. He sprinted to the road, where cars zoomed by, his tiny paws pounding the pavement. Can you imagine the rush? That little guy was ready to do whatever it took to find help. As soon as folks in their cars spotted the scene unfolding, they slammed on the brakes and pulled out their phones to capture the moment. Can you imagine it? A little lion cub darting back and forth, desperately trying to grab everyone's attention? It was like something out of a movie. His bravery really tugged at the heartstrings of the crowd, and before you knew it, people were jumping out of their cars to lend a hand. It was such a beautiful moment of unity, you know. Everyone was cheering him on, and it felt like a scene straight out of a wildlife documentary, but in real life. Just goes to show how a tiny creature can bring so many people together. Right, but how on earth could they reach the mother lion? That pit was super deep and way too dangerous for anyone to even think about climbing down. I mean, who would want to risk a nasty fall or worse, right? So, they decided to call in the police and firefighters, hoping they'd have a plan. But, sadly, the emergency services were just as stumped. There was literally no safe way to bring the mother lion back to the surface. It was a real nail-biter, leaving everyone feeling helpless and worried about her and her cubs. What a tough situation. After a while, the mother lion finally regained her strength and slowly rose up on her powerful paws. She glanced over at the people who had come to her rescue, her eyes sparkling with gratitude. With a heartfelt purr that rumbled like a gentle thunder, she expressed her thanks for everything they'd done. It was such a touching moment, right? You could really feel the bond forming between them. The little cub, safe and sound beside her, looked up with wide eyes, as if understanding the magic of the moment. It was like a scene straight out of a movie, showing that kindness can bridge even the wildest divides. With a calm determination, he assessed the scene, his heart racing but his mind sharp. He knew that every second counted. It was like a race against time, and he was ready to do whatever it took to save her. You could see the passion in his eyes. He wasn't just saving a lion, he was fighting for her life. Isn't that something? With the help of several volunteers, Santiago lowered himself into the hole. This was a very risky maneuver because if something went wrong, he could have been seriously injured or even died. However, he managed to land safely near the exhausted lioness. The woman quickly approached the big cat and started stroking her head. She talked to the animal in a soft voice, trying to calm her down. The lioness had been trapped there for a long time and was very scared. When she finally realized that she wasn't alone, she relaxed a bit. Santiago managed to tie a rope around the lioness's paws, and then the volunteers on the surface started pulling her up. The plan was to lift the big cat out of the pit using a harness. But before they did, Santiago needed to check if she was okay. To his great relief, the lioness was alive and breathing. As the rescuers pulled the animal out of the hole, the brave cub kept jumping and making a lot of noise. He kept asking his mother if she was okay, and she was very proud of her son. Thanks to his help, she was now free. After a bit, the mother lion found her strength and slowly got up on her strong paws. She looked at the people who came to help her, her eyes shining with gratitude. With a heartfelt purr that rumbled like soft thunder, She thanked them for everything. Such a sweet moment, right? You could really feel the connection growing between them. The little cub, safe beside her, stared up with wide eyes, soaking in the magic of it all. It felt like a scene straight out of a movie, proving that kindness can bridge even the wildest gaps. The big cats slipped away into the tall grass, their sleek bodies blending right in like they were part of the scenery. Everyone couldn't help but smile, feeling super happy for them. It was just one of those perfect days in nature. Right. What a great day. While the mother lion was recovering in the wild, her adorable cub stayed with the rescuers, feeling a mix of gratitude and curiosity. He was eager to thank them for saving his mom's life. Every time he spotted those kind-hearted people, he would rub against their legs, purring loudly, almost like he was saying, "Thank you so much." It was such a heartwarming sight, watching this little guy show his appreciation. You could really feel the bond forming, right? It's like he knew he owed them everything. The little lion cub was super curious about the world of humans and all their quirky rules. He spent his days playing with the workers and hanging out with other rescued animals, soaking up every bit of fun and adventure he could find. About 2 weeks later, the Wildlife Rescue Organization released the mother lioness back into the wild. Before that, though, they placed a GPS collar on her neck. This device allowed the workers to keep track of her every move and make sure she was doing well. The reunion between the mother and son was touching. They hugged each other for a long time, and the cub told his mom everything he'd seen and experienced during that time. The moment had come for the little lion to return to the wild. His mom was really feeling that strong pull of the savannah, missing all that open space. She just couldn't stand being away from her son any longer. It was time to reunite and explore together. Releasing the cub was a big deal for the shelter workers. They were super worried since he was just a baby and had no clue how to hunt or defend himself. But guess what? Those fears were totally unfounded. He did just fine. The little lion turned out to be way smarter than most folks thought. He totally got the hang of surviving in the wild and quickly became a top-notch hunter. Whenever the lioness went out hunting, her little cub tagged along, soaking up all the knowledge he could. He was a sharp one, picking up survival skills like a pro. You could see he was really eager to learn. Santiago and the other rescuers just kept pushing forward. Right. They were like real-life superheroes for animals, swooping in to save hundreds of critters in need. Always ready to jump on those distress calls, they never backed down from a challenge. One day, the workers at the wildlife shelter received a call. A woman on the phone said that she'd found a tiny kitten by the side of the road. It was freezing cold outside, so the woman was afraid the kitten wouldn't survive. When the rescuers arrived at the scene, they realized that this was a very serious situation. The kitten was barely breathing. Its tiny heart was about to stop beating at any moment. The kitten was taken to the shelter where it was given first aid. Then it was placed in an incubator. The workers knew that the kitten would have no chance of surviving without their help. They fed it warm milk and covered it with a blanket to keep it warm. In addition, the kitten was given antibiotics and anti-inflammatory drugs. Fortunately, the kitten felt better almost immediately after taking the medicine. It began to move more actively and purr. The workers were very happy about it. However, they knew that the kitten was still in danger. It was too young to eat on its own. That's why the staff had to feed it around the clock. Every 3 hours, someone had to come and give the kitten milk. Despite all the difficulties, the workers coped with the task. They took turns feeding the kitten and playing with it. They also named it Hope. Over time, the animal got stronger and bigger. It also grew very affectionate and friendly. Hope loved spending time with the humans. It liked rubbing against their legs and purring loudly. There were times when the kitten missed its mother very much. In these moments, the shelter workers tried to spend as much time as possible with Hope. They stroked it, played with it, and sometimes even sang to it. As Hope grew up, it became clear that it had a kind and gentle soul. The kitten got along well with other animals and never showed aggression. The day finally came when Hope was healthy enough to find a home. It was a very important day for both the kitten and the shelter workers. Before letting Hope go, the shelter staff made sure it was fully vaccinated and fitted the kitten with a special collar. The new owner promised to take good care of Hope and give it all the love and attention it needed. Saying goodbye to Hope was very difficult, but the shelter workers knew it was for the best. They were happy that the kitten had a family and a home to go back to. If you like stories like this, stay tuned for more. See you soon. Bye.